the mama's son, he had 2 Coca-Colas. And my partner said, pineapple. Look, somebody across the street looking at you very weird. And I said, uh-oh. So I unlocked my rifle, my M16, just in case he throws something across the street or something. And I looked, he's standing like this.
That's where he always stands.
And then he said, shh. He goes like this. And I said, what the hell are you doing here? Because he was in the Marine Corps and I was in the Army. They said, Mom, know you're here? No. Anybody know you're here? No. Well, you're going home because as soon as I drink my Coca-Cola and drag you in the collar and take you to my captain saying he's got to go home. Because it's supposed to be, you two aren't supposed to be fighting in the same war. You know, it was like that movie, The Sullivan Brothers,
That's it.
when they all got killed in the Navy. He said, but I don't want to go. You're going home. You want to kick your ass right here? You're going home. So I put it on the paperwork, stuff like that. So we had an early out at that time, and we got our discharge paper and said, all right, we get the hell out of this country. We go home. I think I was more afraid taking the cab from SeaTac to Beacon Hill, because these guys would just go, you know, you weren't used to going 65, 70 miles an hour. And I'm going to die before I get to the front porch. And so we went in, the doors were locked, but I always knew I left my bedroom window always open in case I sneak out at night, you know. And so I look up, and here's this dark brown boy, Marine Corps, coming up with his duffel bag. I said, man, that's Hank. How in the hell he just getting out now, and I got out before him? And so, long story, we both made it. My mom was happy. She got a peaceful sleep. Didn't have to have nightmares no more. So, that's how my story was. How he got there. Actually, that was one of my good bright stories. Man.
Well, I got to tell you a short story that one of my exes.
One of your
What? I mentioned briefly that all 3 of us played on the Pinoy team in the 1980, and it was a great softball team. Well, you scared the hell out of me when your eyes flashed and you were going to throw that ball in from shortstop. I didn't know where that was going. But my wife at that time said, you know something, Norm? He heard a helicopter, and he said, when I hear helicopters, I look for cover. And this was years after he came back. And so I just want to let you know that Leeds was a very observant person.
Actually, when I hear a helicopter landing, I said, oh good, we're getting picked up and getting the hell out of here. And we just ran as fast as we could go to get it.
She said that you felt like you wanted to run for cover when you hear that helicopter come.
Yep, because sometimes when they fire the round, it could be the wrong coordinates. Yeah. Hope you could dig deep when they start firing. And so, fortunately, we were lucky. We got it. But that didn't happen like coming home. Because when we came back home, we were on red alert. So we had to flew back with our combat fatigue. So we were out in the field when that chopper came in. You had 10 seconds to run in and fly out, like our helicopter pilot was saying. He comes in, he comes out. And so that was quite an experience. You were hoping, oh please, let me make it to the base.
My name Dorothy.
Yeah, was there a difference between what the Army did and the Marines did? I mean, were there different kinds of combat that they were involved in?
Yeah, Marines, they did a lot of the hill fighting, like Quezon, Hill 881.
They were basically up north near Da Nang.
Right. And
Norm went from the Delta all the way up to
the Asheville Valley.
Yeah.
Where that was a really hot spot. If you guys seen that movie, Hamburger Hill,
Yeah.
that's in the ash yard. So that's where we're all stationed at. I mean, digging deep. I could remember we came back patrol. Here's another funny moment. Betty and all the guys, they sent me all these boxes of cookies. Right? And so it happened to be the monsoon season. And so we came back on patrol, and here's our 3 feet trench. And my cookies floating. Couldn't even eat it, man. I said, I gotta wait till I come back and eat it and hide it from my buddies.
See, Norm was up and down Vietnam. The Marines were basically up north. When I was in Vietnam, I was basically in 2 Corps in Pleiku. And I'm telling you, during the wintertime, when we got there, we had to turn in all our field jackets. I mean, it got so cold, I swear it was gonna snow. It got cold in that Central Highland, and I had to requisition my field jacket back. Not like these guys.
Just a question. Yes.
You talked at the beginning about our Agent Orange. Can you tell me a little more about that? It has affected all of you?
It affected a lot of us. I think 80% of my vets were affected by Agent Orange. Agent Orange, the main thing you can get from Agent Orange is type 2 diabetes. But from type 2 diabetes and from Agent Orange, you can get cancer, you can get, you have heart trouble, you can have trouble with your blood. It can cause a lot of things. I can testify because I got 3 or 4 of them from Agent Orange.
And I got type 2 diabetes from Agent Orange.
Sure, you can say that?
I have type 2 diabetes. I don't know if I got it from Agent Orange, but in the Air Force, my experience with Agent Orange went back as far as being in Florida at Eglin Air Force Base, where they were doing some of the testing on the 123s that sprayed the stuff. So they were more or less perfecting how to do it and training the pilots there in the middle of Florida.
Did you apply for disability from Agent Orange?
Well, another problem I have going to the VA and getting registered.
I must have been one of the lucky ones, because I have all the stuff going around in the newspaper. I've never had to face any of that. And I don't know if it's maybe because of my record, they know that I'm not a quiet guy, and I know a lot of people who send letters everywhere, but yeah, I'm just one that hasn't gone through. And I know that the ones that write about it haven't gone through that trouble.
Yeah,
So I
well,
know people that
it's
have.
documented that you're there, whereas for someone like me, there's no documentation.
Oh, there's no, that's
that I
right,
was
that's right,
there.
you don't have the ribbon.
But unbeknownst to a lot of people who don't realize this, the military, Army, Air Force, and Navy,
Mhm.
Marine Corps, they use Agent Orange as a defoliant, weed killer at the bases. So all around the runways and along the sides of the roads, at bases outside of Vietnam, like at Anderson Air Force Base in Guam, and Kadena in Okinawa, CCK in Taiwan, and even Clark in the Philippines, as well as places like Mactan.
That stuff don't drop straight down. It goes all over the place.
That stuff was sprayed
Yeah.
by civil engineer troops along the sides of the roads and highways and taxiways to keep the weeds. So, if it's not documented that previously, if it wasn't documented that you were stationed in Vietnam in country, okay, your chances of getting a deferral or some kind of disability from Agent Orange was like 0. Now, they're starting to consider a lot of those people, including the Blue Navy guys
Yeah,
that
they
were
should.
never near any land, anything. They were out in the middle of the South China Sea, and occasionally they pull into Subic because of the fact that they use that stuff at Subic. That they're now considered to be eligible, but you still have to kind of like prove.
Yep.
They have to test your blood, and you have to have the right amount of toxins and whatever blood things that, to say that that's.
The guy,
Gotta
the
go
helicopter
for your
pilot
doctor.
that you saw here, Ben Braces, who was talking about flying, he sprayed Agent Orange. So needless to say, he did get type 2 diabetes and is disabled.
Yeah, there's a handful of us here who are, myself and younger, who grew up no USSR, no communism, Vietnamese people are friends. a really naive question. Why did the Vietnam War last as long as it did?
It's the same question of why is the war in Afghanistan lasting as long as it does, okay? I hate to be political, okay, but, you know, the military-industrial complex that President Eisenhower warned us about, it's alive and well, and will keep these wars going in order to keep those military-industrial complex entities well-fed.
54% of our national budget is for military purposes. Yes.
Question, yes. First of all, thank you for your service. Okay, thank you. And also I would like to say that these young men here, they are my mentors, okay? If you ever if you ever watch them walk around this conference, they walk with a swag because they earned it, okay? They earned it. But anyway, my question is, and you know, like a lot of them, they're very, very private people too. They don't really want to talk too much, especially like Norm. He's a very, very strong, private individual. But Norm, the question I have for you is, I'd like to comment, first of all, your story is important. No matter how trivial you think it is, it's very important for you to tell that story or else somebody else will. So thank you for your service. And the question I have is it getting harder for you to talk about this now, or is it getting easier?
It depends on the question or what they ask. You know, if they ask me, did you pull the trigger and kill somebody?
Yeah, that's the question.
That's the first thing they ask me. And it's hard. I said sometimes I can't tell because sometimes I'm usually the radio man and do all that. Second, I could say that when I come back and I talk about my personal life, what's wrong with me and stuff, my family gave me the strong support. Especially my wife Randy here. And it's her mom that said that I wasn't the same person. And she could see that through me. And I didn't know because I was holding everything inside. Until one day I came out the shower and I just started bawling. Just started crying, let everything out. But it wasn't for my family. With their health, I would have never really got through with it, you know. And so, I think my wife wanted to comment something that would really.
I've been with Norm ever since he came back. I knew him before the war and after the war. He was not the same jovial person. He was desensitized of all his emotion. And I couldn't deal with that. I still live that every day. I have to remember in my mind that he's been through, and excuse my expression, but somebody said to me one time, they've been through a mental fuck that no one else would understand but those who have been there. So being with Norm, I have to kind of realize that he's been through a lot of this. I remember one comment he made to me one time. We had some big argument, you know, as you always do, and I started to cry. And he looked dead into my face and he said to me, there is no reason to cry here in America. He said, they might have ugliness here, but if you want to see ugly, go to Vietnam and see babies killed and women's killed and family killed and dead bodies, finding your friend who was in the bunker with you next to you die. He said, there's a reason to cry. So it's an emotional problem that they live every day of their lives. They struggle with it even now. So, like I said, it is something that they've had to grow out of, but have yet to go there.
Thank you, my dear.
I would like to make a comment here. After the preliminary showing of this film, and we had some of the wives there, they were saying, are you going to interview us? And the reason for that is when their husbands came back, there was no dialogue, but there was a lot of anger, and some of the marriages broke up. And I asked one fellow, you know, after we did this, because actually, you know, it's a plug for the journal writing, and I'm having one on Saturday, but it serves as a catharsis, because they're doing it in a round, everybody's speaking, it's not just one guy telling his story, they're finding out that they have a shared experience, and they all were feeling the same way. And so, you know, so many things that kind of spoke to Mel. I don't know, Mel, maybe there are thousands of Filipinos or hundreds of Filipinos out there. This could be such a great project that we really could do anyway, but no, really, the families were truly involved. The husband, I mean, the young men who came back and got married like you did afterwards, but the young wives who were left behind, and then the husbands came back and weren't the same people.
We do plan on doing exactly what Nina and Dorothy is talking about. However, my main push is to make sure that I get all the Vietnam vets interviewed for the Oral History Project, not only for us, but for our families, you know, our children, our grandchildren, because they don't know our story. We haven't talked about it. But we do plan on doing the girlfriends and the wives.
Significant others.
And others, yeah. You know, Michelle had her hand up for about an hour.
I just wanted to share with you, Uncle, that my two older brothers, one served in Vietnam, he was in Saigon Air Force. And his second brother was on Guam. And he couldn't talk about it either. We used to share cassette tapes. Does anybody know what a cassette tape is? We would record a conversation, one-sided conversation, ship it off, you know, to my brother in Guam. He'd listen to it, flip it over, record back, but he could never tell us what he was doing. He always just said, I have to leave for work.
That's because he wasn't always on Guam.
You know.
Because a lot of us that were there on Guam, like I said, had forward operating bases in Thailand. And going to Thailand was just as bad as being at Da Nang
Isn't it where
or Cam Bay.
The B-52.
For-
Isn't that where B-52s were?
Yes,
Yeah,
so,
that's what he
so
was feeling.
those people that were on Guam were frequently rotated. And we called it in country, but it's technically it's Thailand, it's not really in country specifically Vietnam, but you wouldn't know the difference. Okay, and especially at a base like Udorn where we were, that was, I don't know how many of you saw the movie Air America with Mel Gibson and,
Oh, yeah.
what's his name there, Iron Man guy?
Downey.
Downey.
That base was Air America, was CIA headquarters for Southeast Asian operations.
Yeah.
And Air America did operate out of there. And in fact, a lot of the missions that I personally went on is when they couldn't find a CIA airplane to do it, since we had 130s and they needed to haul places into some of these bases that we weren't even supposed to be flying into. Which is why our mission was classified, because we weren't supposed to be in Laos and Cambodia.
Right.
And even our uniforms, we had no insignia on them. We wore sneakers instead of combat boots. No dog tags, no wallet. You have to leave all that stuff at home. And what was I carrying? A 2-inch barreled .38 with 3 plastic bullets that were like shotgun shells, and the other 3 were hollow points. Okay, who are you going to kill with that? After 10 feet, it's totally don't even go.
The cutout on the side of the
So I actually had to, for myself, just in case we ended up being shot down and ended up some weird place, I got myself a 45. You know, so you're packing underneath your arms on each side something you could defend yourself with. But if there was some GI, one of these guys that wanted to go home and get on my airplane and say, you know, take me home, you know, I'd give him both weapons there, because he's carrying an M16. You know, my pistols there are going to do very much against an M16. And there were incidents like that, not happened to any of us in the mission that I was on, but guys who were flying actually combat, what do you call, airlift in country, in Vietnam. They get in there, you know, some wacko just couldn't take it anymore, all that stuff there, and they were moving around from one place to another, usually further out, and he, you know, take that gun and point it at the loadmaster, which is basically the crew position that I was in. Being the weatherman, I played the crew a loadmaster, and say, you know, take me home. You know, start flying him wherever, as long as that airplane would go in the direction he wanted to go.
Larry, before I take one question, are there other veterans in here that were there? Jeff, you're. Well, I know, but veterans, just veterans?